Listen, can I get more of those books?
You get more of these books.
Different
You
volumes?
could this volume or the other volumes.
I want the complete stuff.
Okay, we'll talk. We'll talk after the shir. B'ezrat Hashem. Text me. We'll talk. Okay. All right. All right. We are starting. B'ezrat Hashem. We're finally starting volume 11. Baruch Hashem, it took us quite a while to get it, but we finally have it. And we're going to continue in Hilchot Tefillah about prayers. Today's halacha is going to be starting off about activities, yes or no, that could be done before prayer. We're going to be focusing primarily about shaharit today. So stuff that could be can't or could be done before shaharit. We know that praying, especially Shemona Esrei, is very, very important. And our Chazal tell us, because it's so important, a person can't be doing other things beforehand. Let's see the Gemara, Masechta Berachot, Daf Yudalad. That's our first source for tonight. Amar Rav, Rav says, Kol anoten shalom lehavero, kodem she'it palel. Anybody who gives shalom to his friend before he davens, that means he goes over to his friend and he says shalom, or he says shalom aleichem, or he says something in that regard. Ke'ilu asa o bama. It's as if he made a bama. A bama was a mizbeach that they built outside of the Beit HaMikdash, which was not allowed to have anymore once you have the Beit HaMikdash. You're not allowed to build a bama. So a person who says shalom to someone before praying Shemona Esrei of Shacharit, it's as if he's made a bama. Shenemar, because it says, Chadlu lachem min ha'adam, cease you from man, stop looking at man, asher neshama ba'apo, who has a neshama in him, kivama, because of what? How much? Nikshavhu. Why are you calculating him? Kivama nikshavhu. How important is he? So Rav says, Al tikre bima. Don't read it how much. Ela bama. But read it bama. If you are valuing a person more than Hashem, you made a bama. It's as if you're serving the person and not serving Hashem. If you're serving outside of the Beit HaMikdash, you're making a bama. Shmuel says you don't have to change the word. You can read it as bima. In what? Bima chashveto lezeh v'lo le'eloha. Why are you valuing, and what are you valuing man? Oh, Rabbi Yosef, come around. You have a statement for him, right? What are you valuing man over Hashem? So Rav and Shmuel are really saying the same thing. Rav is saying it from the word bama, that you made a bama outside Beit HaMikdash, you're bringing a carbon outside. And Shmuel is saying bima. And what are you valuing man versus Hashem? So Rav Sheshet says, really, you're not allowed to say shalom to someone before you pray. But we learned, Bapirakim shoel mipnei hakavod umeshiv. If a person's in between the paragraphs are on page 23, if a person's in between paragraphs of Shema, he's allowed to, if someone important walks inside, he can say hello to him and he can definitely answer. So you see, you could say shalom, you could answer and greet someone before you pray Shemona Esrei, because it said you can do it during Shema. So the Gemara says, Targama Rabbi Abba. Rabbi Abba answers and explains, B'mashkim lepetacho. It's when you're going out to his door. This whole issue of saying shalom to someone is if you're going out to his door, to his house, specifically to tell him shalom. That's what it seems to be saying from the Gemara. So now, there's a couple of questions. When you learn this Gemara, you have to ask yourself. And this is what the Rishonim deal with. The first question is, the Gemara said the word shalom. Honoten shalom. Anyone who gives shalom to his friend. Now the Gemara mean only the word shalom is a problem, or also saying good morning can be a problem? Shalom. So we're saying only shalom. And we're going to get to that. And you're right. The other question is, what does this mean going to someone's house to tell him, you're coming to his door? What is, how far does this go? How do you understand it? So let's start with the Rishonim. We're on source 2 on page 24. And we're starting with the Rashba. The Rashba is bringing down a Ravad. And he says as follows: Kotav the Haravad. Ravad wrote, the Hainu. This is what they say in the morning. Safra de Maritav. In Aramaic, this means good morning. The word, I guess the Jews at that time spoke Aramaic, so they would say Safra de Maritav, good morning. Kadeshi ten lev. Now, why do they say good morning versus shalom? The Rashba says, Kadeshi ten lev shu asur litakeb b'dvarim achrim kalal ad shitpalel ubnei shehu mishaneh b'lashono yiskor. Because usually I say shalom. Now I'm saying b'tzafra de maritav. When I say that, I know I'm saying that because I'm not supposed to be talking now. And since I'm not supposed to be talking now, I won't carry on talking tra-la-la, and then miss prayer. I'll know to stop and get to prayer. That's the way the Ravad learns the Issur. The whole Issur of saying shalom is because you might get there too long and you might lose the time to pray. Therefore, if you say something other than shalom, you will remember that you have to pray. So for us, now according to the Ravad's reasoning, saying good morning for us would still be a problem because good morning is the normal way we talk. No one says shalom to someone in the morning. Usually the Americans say good morning. Dobrutra, Boker Tov. So if we're saying good morning, that's not a reminder to us that we have to go pray. Just using the same logic of the Ravad. The Ravad thinks if you say something normally, then it won't remind you. You have to say something different. So I guess you would have to say, for us, instead of saying good morning, say morning good. I said it differently, now. Or say something, nice morning, or something like that. So it's a different lashon. Okay, that's according to the Rabbi, the way he understands the Gemara. Now, we're going to look at the Talmidei Rabbeinu Yonah. This is really the Shulchan Aruch is going to go mostly with this. It's going to bring it down all three opinions. They go to Talmidei Rabbeinu Yonah. Amr Chochmei Provenza. So this is the rabbis of province. Dafilu b'mashkim lepetcho enu iser el kishemaskir lo shalom. Mishum sheshemo shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu shalom. Avamuter leimer like tzafar demari tav kiva she'enu maskir lo shalom. He says, when they said in the morning, you can't go to the guy's house and say to him shalom, dafka shalom. And it's only because of the word shalom. Because shalom is the name of Hashem. And you shouldn't use Hashem's name for someone else before you daven to Hashem. So don't use the word shalom before someone else. Now about this, here the Yalkut Yosef right brings down. It's also in the footnote, I think on the next page. But just mention it right here. Mutar lehakitz et chavero sheshmo shalom. You're allowed to wake up somebody your friend whose name is Shalom. Right? So you're saying, Shalom, get up. Maybe I can't say Shalom, get up. I have to let him sleep because his name is Shalom. No. You're allowed to call him by his name before davening because it's his name. You're not saying Shalom to him. You're calling him Shalom. So it's different. Now, the Rabbeinu Yonah adds on. The students of Rabbeinu Yonah add on and say, Venira le Mori, and it appeared to the Mori Harav, to our teacher, Shafilu ze eno mutar el kashehotzarech lalechad lerot laesik me'eskoav ol l'shum inyan avam eno holech el hekabel panav koydem atfila afilu ze halashon asur. The student of Rabbeinu Yonah said that Rabbeinu Yonah himself taught as follows: that if you're going to the man's house on purpose to say hello to him, then even saying good morning instead of shalom would also be a problem. That if you're specifically going to him, then you can't say shalom, you can't say good morning, because you're specifically going to him. The only time you're allowed to say to him is if you're going on your way to do something else, or you're going there for some other reason. You're going there because you're walking on that block to go to shul, and you see him outside the house. So now you can tell him,
going for different business, not for.
So that he says yes. If you're going for different business, it's also considered for different business. You're going to his house to do some business there.
Going to his house to pick him up.
Yeah. Is that business enough? Different business? I don't know. That's it's a business to go to tefillah. Meaning, it meant business. For example, you have to pick something up from him, or you're on your way and you gotta pick up the cakes for the kiddush, or you have to do something like that. That's like a different thing. If it's time to go to shul, I'm not so sure about that. Okay, that's the Rabbeinu Yonah. So Rabbeinu Yonah says, Rabbeinu Yonah says, you cannot say good morning. Definitely can't say shalom. Can't say good morning even if you went specifically to him. But if you didn't go specifically to him and you met him, then you could definitely say good morning. We'll see about shalom in a minute. Okay, now the fourth source, bringing a Rabbeinu Yerucham, the Beit Yosef brings down Rabbeinu Yerucham, and Rabbeinu Yerucham says as follows: Pirush shalom kimo kri'ah. When the Gemara said shalom, you're not allowed to give shalom. Shalom is kri'ah. Kri'ah is bowing down to a friend. It's when you give him I guess it's like a nod, but it's like a real bow. You're giving a bow, that's not allowed. Avas shalom ba'peh mutar. But to say shalom with your mouth, this is mutar. Like saying good morning or anything like that, that's okay. And even bowing down to your friend, giving him a nod, only if you're going specifically to his door. But if you bumped into him outside or bumped into him in the shul, then you're allowed to do kri'ah to him. So Rabbeinu Yerucham is saying when it says shalom in the Gemara, it never actually meant saying it with your mouth. It meant giving him the bow or the nod, or the customary, whatever thing it was at the time. Okay, so we had the three Rishonim. We had the Rashba who brought the Ravad. We had the Talmid Rabbeinu Yonah who brought down their understanding as well as the understanding of the Chachamim of province, as well as Rabbeinu Yonah's understanding. And we had Rabbeinu Yerucham that was brought by the Beit Yosef. So now we come to the Shulchan Aruch. We're on page 25 in Tzurba Rabbanan. We are now on source 5. Kivon she'agia zman tefillah. Shulchan Aruch says that once it came the time to daven. Now, what's the time of davening? For us, kivon she'agia zman tefillah means dawn. So alot hashachar. Once alot hashachar comes, technically you can start a daven already. So once it hits dawn, which is 72 minutes before sunrise, asur le'adam lahaktim lepeta havero litel lo shalom. You're not allowed to go to your friend's house to tell him shalom. You're not allowed to do that. Mushum d'shmoi shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu shalom. Because the name of Hashem is shalom. And you're not going to use Hashem's name for someone else before you dive into Hashem. Aval mutar lo malo tzafra de maritav. But you're allowed to tell him good morning. Now, va'afilu zeh enu mutar elo kishehotzarech lelechet leroot eze esek. It's only if you're going to do some sort of business there, some sort of job, some sort of errand. But if you went dafka on purpose to go see this guy, this is the Rabbeinu Yonah's understanding. That's what the Shulchan Aruch brings. That if you went on purpose to see him, then even saying good morning is not allowed.
I want to pick up breakfast.
You went to pick up breakfast, and you saw him at his entrance. And then it's okay because you went to pick up breakfast, and then you see him, so you can tell him good morning. But if you went to his house to tell him good morning, you can't say good morning.
He's the owner of the bagel shop.
He's the owner of the bagel shop.
You say, how are you?
Right? You say how are you is not a problem. Definitely not a problem because you're not using any sort of greeting. But here he's saying that if you went on purpose to see him. If you're doing esek, that's going. You're going to pick up bagels and eggs. Fine. Okay. Yeah. So then you see him, so you can say good morning to him, because you're not going to tell him good morning. You don't care if he's there. You want your bagel and eggs. That's what it seems to be saying. As long as you no, doesn't matter. Then the Shulchan Aruch adds on. So too, you're not allowed to bow to him when you go to his door. That's Rabbeinu Yerucham already. And there are those who say you're not allowed to bow to him even if you didn't go to his door. You're never allowed to bow to someone in the morning before you daven to Hashem. That's what Shulchan Aruch says. Now, Shulchan Aruch brings a little bit of a kula over here, a little bit of something you can do in order to make stuff a little easier. If you started to say berachot hashachar, we Baruch Hashem Sfaradim, we do Birkat HaShachar already before we leave the house. We try doing everything at home, right, Yosef? We spoke about this in the past. Mm-hmm. So, you already started to say berachot, so you already started davening. You already started saying thank you Hashem And lechosh kol kach. Then you don't have to be so worried in all these things. But if you didn't go to his door, you met him on the streets. I'm walking, he's walking, and we met him on the streets. Mutar liten lo shalom. Then Shulchan Aruch now brings another opinion and says mutar lo liten lo shalom. Give him shalom. But then he says, some say, even if you meet him in the marketplace, you shouldn't say shalom. Rather, you should say good morning. Because you want him to make sure to remember you're supposed to daven and not waste your time with other things, so you don't end up missing Zman Tefillah. So Shulchan Aruch seems to have brought down all the Rishonim's opinions here. So you have here a stam, you have a yesh, you have a couple of yeshes here. So we're going to see what we're going to come out in the end. Now, the Mishnah Berurah says something very interesting as well. We're in source 6. Mishnah Berurah says, when we're saying you can't go to someone's door, does that literally mean going to his door? Or could that be another understanding? Lahakdim. He says, Behu hadin, the same is true if you're in the shul, and you go from your regular seat, to now your friend's seat, that's considered going to someone's door. And now you're not allowed to say shalom to that person. So if you're going to the shul and after walking over to someone to tell them shalom in the morning is completely usher. That's the way the Mishnah brought. That's important.
If you say brachot, you started, you can say it.
We say it's not so much. The Shulchan Aruch says you don't have to get too worried about it, but still we don't do it. We don't say shalom so much in the morning until you actually pray Shemona Esrei. We don't do that. I was gonna mention this later, but I'll mention it now. So they asked Rabbi Mutzafir, Ben Sion Metzafir, they asked them, what about in the morning when I'm walking to shul on Shabbat? We Sephardim have a beautiful minhag, we say Shabbat Shalom. Now both the name of Shabbat and then Shalom are both Hashem's name. And it gives people a lot of power, we say Shabbat Shalom. But now in the morning, before I pray Shaharitza, I'm walking outside, can I say Shabbat Shalom to someone? Because I didn't daven yet. So basically what we're saying over here, that before you pray, you're not allowed to say Shalom to somebody. You should not say Shabbat Shalom to someone in the morning. So he said you can use the Aramaic Lashon, Shabbat Tafta, it should be a good Shabbat, or the English expression, good Shabbos. That would not be a problem. We don't know, but he says not to say Boker Tov on Shabbat. Why not? Because it says that's a weekday greeting. A weekday greeting is Boker Tov. On Shabbat, you don't want to use Boker Tov. So he says instead say good Shabbos, Shabbat, have a good Shabbat, but yeah, no, they're not doing right the whole time. For the early morning, they're doing right. But that's important to recognize that Shalom is the issue, even when you're saying Shabbat Shalom. Okay, let's take a look at the next Mishnah Berurah. He says, you shouldn't be using Hashem's name to give someone honor before you honor Hashem, like we've been saying the same thing over and over again. If you say in another language, if you say shalom in another language, you have to look into this. He doesn't know for sure. But you're allowed to give someone a bracha, saying Hashem should bless you, Hashem should do like this to you. Hashem. That's okay to say in the morning. The problem is saying shalom to someone, using Hashem's name to give him kavod. But giving him a bracha in the morning, that is fine, even if you're using Hashem's name there. As the Mishnah Berurah says over here. So now, let us go for us in the Yalkut Yosef. We're in source 7. Yalkut Yosef is going to say as follows. Kivon Shagia Amud Shahar. Once it came dawn. Asor lo Adam sheiktim lefeter chavero liiten lo shalom kodem atfilah. You're not allowed to go to your friend's door or go to your friend's place, even in the shul, and give him shalom. Va'afilu, and even hu aviv or rabo, even if it's your father or it's your rebbe, you're not allowed to give them shalom. in the morning before prayer. But you're allowed to tell him good morning. You go tell your father good morning, you tell your Rebbe good morning. That's just allowed to. This is only if you're going to do some sort of thing and you're passing them, and you can tell them now, shalom.
Wake up your
Or
kids.
good morning.
Wake up your kids.
If you went dafka to see him, then even saying good morning is not allowed.
Wake up the kids.
Waking up the kids.
Good morning. So he says shalom.
So he brings down over here. Actually, I saw this from Rav Belsky. He brought down over here. The Rav Leibowitz brought this down. What about waking up kids in camp? He didn't say waking up kids at home, but I said waking up kids in camp. And he said that it would be okay, and that doesn't fall into the gather of greeting someone. And waking up children in camp with the PA system is permitted and not included in the aforementioned discussion. I think it's like what we said. You're allowed to call somebody shalom. Wake up shalom. You're waking him up. His name is shalom. You're allowed to call him that. They wake up somebody. It seems to be okay. It's not a greeting. You're not greeting them. You're just waking them up with the good morning. You're being pleasant about waking them up. So it's different than giving them a greeting. So far, what did the Yalkut Yosef say? The Yalkut Yosef said is you cannot give anybody shalom if you go to dafka to their house, even if your father and the mother, even if the Rebbe not allowed to go. The only time you're allowed to go is if you're going on your way to do something else. And even then, you shouldn't say shalom. You should rather say good morning.
What if it's a goy?
Even if it's a guy, you should say good morning. You shouldn't say shalom.
But that's a weekday thing if it's on Shabbat.
What do you mean?
If it's Shabbat and it's a goy, it's okay to say good morning?
Oh,
Before
you're
prayer?
saying if
It's
you're
a
saying
weekday thing.
yeah, it should be fine to say to a guy good morning on Shabbat. Yeah.
Okay.
I think so. I mean, I personally do that myself sometimes. I don't see it because it's to a Jew you say Shabbat Shalom. Goyim don't have Shabbat, so you're not going to tell them Shabbat, right? So yeah.
Or maybe say it differently, like good day, maybe.
Yeah, whatever it is. Yeah,
Sometimes people learn before Hari.
right. So what do you mean? Okay, can he say good morning?
Using Hashem, everything, all this. Sukim, I don't
So
know.
actually, we're not going to get into it today, but there's actually a discussion if you're allowed to start learning in the morning.
We said Birkat HaShach, yeah.
Right, no, even that's Birkat HaShachar, but it's time for tefillah. It's already Zman tefillah. So if you're davening in a place that's going to be a minyan afterwards, then it's okay to learn.
Yeah.
But then you're learning, that's okay. That's okay. For learning, it's okay. Always, when it comes to learning Torah, is always what to be matir, right? But when it comes to other stuff, not so much. All right. So now, what does he end up here? He says, in Pagav B'derech Mikardin, if you met him on the way in the middle of the street, Mikardin Mutalar Mishalom, legally you're allowed to say, from the source of Halacha, you're allowed to tell him shalom. You just bumped into someone. But it's better to say good morning rather than saying shalom. Even in cases where you just met someone in the middle of the street, where technically you could say shalom, better to say boker tov. So it comes out from the Yalkut Yosef in the morning before prayer. Try not to use shalom at all. Technically, if you bumped into someone, you're allowed to say shalom. But even in that case, you should say boker tov. But you're definitely not allowed to go to someone's house or visit him specifically in the shul. Then you're not allowed to say shalom or boker tov too if you went specifically to the person.
If you cross the street, you say boker tov.
Yeah.
You say shalom.
That's fine. That's better. Yeah, that's the better way. If you just bump into him across the street, tell him boker tov rather than saying shalom. Here in Rav Mordechai Eliyahu and source 8, he says as follows: Shigam im loy halach lebet chaver ela pagash bo berachov lo yamer lo shalom ela boker tov. He says, if you meet someone on the street, you shouldn't say shalom like we've been saying up until now. You say boker tov. Ve'im ragil lomar tamid boker tov. But if you tell him if you usually use the language of Boker Tov, Yishaneva Yomrot Safrat Hava, then go ahead and say the Aramaic of good morning. So you should know I use the strained language because I need to go daven and I shouldn't tralala here right now. So based on this, we Americans, we don't really, I don't know about you, I don't usually use the word Boker Tov in the morning. I usually use good morning. So if I was to meet someone and I wanted to remind myself to go pray, but technically me saying Boker Tov would be good because that's a strange way for me to say good morning. And an Israeli who usually would say Boker Tov, if they would say good morning, that would be a strange way to say it. That would remind them they have to go daven. So far, so good. Now, Behu Hadin, Sha'ar Berachot, Beichulim, She'em Miniel Melomar, Lechavero, Kishepogash Otav Boker Lefnei HaTefilah. He says as follows: there's no reason to stay back from other blessings. Meaning, the problem is with shalom. To give somebody a mazel tov and even to give him a hand before prayer, this is okay. If a guest comes in, you're allowed to tell him Baruchim Habayim and give him a handshake. Shalom Aleichem. Just not Shalom Aleichem. The real big problem here is Shalom Aleichem. Shabtat Tava. Better to say good Shabbat in Aramaic. Yom Tov Tava. Emnon, but here he says, Doronu Matana. But now if you want to give somebody a matana, Asur Latet Kodem HaTefilah. You're not allowed to give somebody a gift before davening. Shehu B'chlal She'ilat Shalom. Because this is as saying shalom. Giving a gift. So you have a present for someone. If a mitzvah bacher is getting bar mitzvah, he didn't pray Shemona Esrei yet. He walked into the shul, right? What's it called? The tefillin? How you say it in French? Right, so you're putting on the tefillin day, right? And you put it on 1,000 times. Everybody comes over and wraps it. And you have a present to give him. You should not be giving him the present when you walk in. After Shemona Esrei, give him the present. Because up until then, it's considered saying shalom. We're going to see, I'll bring down the Yakut Yosef in a minute, a little bit of a way around this. But let's take a look in the source 10, page 28, the Dirshu. The Dirshu says as follows over here. The Shemra Shabbat says as follows. The Lomer Shalom but telephone. What about saying shalom on a telephone? Shalom Aleichem. Speaking to someone on the telephone before Shacharit. And you tell him Shalom Aleichem. So he says over here, let me show you. Sefer Olacha B'Mitecha, Rav Goin, Rav Betzalel Stern. Kosav she'ein dino k'mashkin lepetach chavero. It's not as if you're going to someone's door. V'lechein hekel letelefon lechavero lekarvish sheyotz l'derech. He says over here, he needs to be saying that if you're going on the phone, it would be okay to say shalom, especially if you say lech shalom, go to peace. That's not Hashem's name. Interestingly, when I was looking it up here in the halachically speaking by Reb Leibowitz, he also says that on the telephone is not a problem. He says that talking on the phone, some places say that talking on the phone is permitted, and is not the same as going to someone's house to talk to them. He brings this from the Ozli de Beru, that apparently talking on the phone is not an issue. It's not considered as you're going to someone's house to talk to them. Now, of course, this is not going to be a halacha shir if someone doesn't argue with him. So you have right away a halacha that says, in his humble opinion, it seems that in cases of need, to call someone on the phone can be considered like one who passes by the house of his friend, where he's permitted to enter, but he should say good morning and not shalom. And it's best to recite Birkat HaShachar beforehand, because the Shulchan Aruch said if you say Birkat HaShachar beforehand, you're going to have less of an issue. It's still an issue, but it's less of an issue. He says because really talking on the phone is like going to someone's door. You're specifically going to that person. Yaakov Yosef doesn't bring down about telephone. Now, the fact that we see there are those leading to talk directly on the phone and say shalom, and when it comes to messaging, text messaging or WhatsApp or stuff like that, which is not really considered talking and not really considered writing, right? Not ksiva, it's not dibur. So definitely texting shalom in the morning doesn't seem to be a problem at all from what we're building up to right now. Okay. Now the last piece here, which is I think the very important piece, this is the Mishnah Berurah. Mishnah Berurah says, no, this it's liftoach lo melchaver shalom. It's where you are greeting the other person. You should not say shalom to someone else if you didn't daven yet. Aval kishechavero shoel b'shlomo. But if your friend greets you, mutar leheshiv b'chol inyan. Then you're allowed to answer him. Mishnah Berurah says if someone comes to you in the morning, you didn't daven yet. Someone comes and tells you shalom, then you're allowed to answer him shalom. So you're not allowed to start to use the word shalom when you're starting something before you daven, but you're allowed to answer someone back. If a friend greets him with shalom, it's permitted to reply in any manner. And certainly someone who's already prayed is permitted. You're allowed to, you know someone didn't daven yet, and you already daven, you're allowed to go and tell him shalom, even though now you know he's going to have to answer you back. That would be permissible. The only issue here is when you're starting it off and you didn't daven yet. That's what the Mishnah Berurah said. Now, based on this, I'll read you halacha from the Shulchan Aruch. So we said, brought down from Piskei Teshuvot, we said that giving presents is like saying shalom. So here he says, you're not allowed to go and give presents to someone's house in the morning, like saying shalom. Aval, he comes from a foreign land, I mean, he's traveling, he's coming home. He comes to his house. And the little children didn't daven shacharit yet. And they're asking him for presents that he brought from Chutz La'aretz. All right? He didn't daven yet, they didn't daven yet, can you give them? He's allowed to give it to them before davening. And I think it has to do with this Mishnah Berurah. But I think it has to do with this Mishnah Berurah. Because the Mishnah Berurah said what? If someone talks to you first, you're supposed to respond to them. So if the kids come and tell you, Daddy, you're home, wow, yeah, give us the presents. So they started the conversation. They started with you. So now you have to give it to them. So you're allowed to give presents if they're begging you for it. You're allowed to give them the presents. Okay. So what did we come out with at the end? There's a very good chart here on page 29. You have Rav and Rav Abba. Rav says you're not allowed to give someone a greeting in the morning. It's like you're making a bama. Shmuel said it's like you're valuing him more than Hashem. Rabbi Abba said you're not allowed to go to your friend's door. See, the Rav and the Rashba says this is only if you're using shalom. If you use tzaf for the maritav, that's okay because it'll remind you to daven. Rabbi Yonah said you're not allowed to use shalom because of Hashem's name, and definitely if you're going to his house. Rabbi Yochum said the problem is bowing down to him. Shulchan Aruch said if you're going to your friend's door in business, should not use shalom. If you're going to door to greet him, any language, even good morning is forbidden. Not allowed to bow to him. If you see him on the street, you're allowed to say shalom to him, but even then, it's better to say good morning. The big parts of the Mishnah Berurah here is walking over to someone in shul is also considered as going to his door, and he doesn't know if shalom in different languages are okay or not. And then the last Mishnah Berurah was if someone answered you, someone talked to you first, you're allowed to be answering to him. I brought here just to hear it. He's in the Yaakov Yosef, he just brings us down also in Halacha 28. He says, "Mutar la'adam lahashkin lepetach chaver liten lo shalom kishagia Zman Arvit. Shlo asur lomar shalom kol tefillah el kadam tefillah shacharit. Aval kol tefillah mincha Arvit lo asur. That saying the shalom is only asur before shacharit. Before mincha Arvit, you're allowed to go to someone's house and you're allowed to tell them shalom. The only answer is at shacharit. Any questions at this point when we go now to the next part of the shiur? So far clear. We know what to do. It's in the morning.
But bowing.
Yeah.
Sometimes your customers like Asians,
Uh-huh.
and
They bow.
don't say hello. Like,
Right.
is it okay?
You're saying in general to bow?
general,
Yeah. There's no problem bowing down to a
Like as a
person.
respect, like
Yeah. It's not an issue. It's about the. It's not the desire.
Yeah.
You're just bowing to someone else. It's not an issue at all. Okay. Fine. We're on page 30. Let's take a look. Doing some of your work before Shaharit. Can it be done? Can it not be done? Let's take a look. On Rav bar Abba and Rav Yitzchak bar Ashian, Asor lo Adam la'asot chefetzav kodem shitpalel. It's forbidden for a person to do his needs before he davens. You cannot take care of yourself before you thank Hashem for your life. Shneimar, as it says, tzedek lefanav yihalech. Put tzedek in front of you. Put Hashem in front of you. And then go on your way. So a person should be davening first and then doing his business. Shulchan Aruch said it straight up. Source number 14, page 30. Asor lo litasek b'tzarachav o lilech laderech. Person can't take care of his own needs or go on the road ad shitpalel tfilat yudchet, until he prays Shmona Esrei. So you're not allowed to take care of your own needs. You're not allowed to go on the road until you daven Shmona Esrei.
When you mean your own needs, like personal needs or some other things?
Your business or anything personal also.
Go bathroom, do this.
So bathroom is a preparation for davening. That would be okay because it's going to be considered a hechsher mitzvah, preparation for a mitzvah.
So you open your eyes, you say more than then
Right.
you go out, then come back.
So,
You
Osek
cannot do it.
Tzaracha, for example, going on Gmail and looking through your emails to who to respond to for your business. This would be considered Osek Tzaracha, his own needs. Or if a person wants to look at the stock market, stuff like that. At that time in the morning, when it's already prayer time, that will be considered looking at his own needs. That would be forbidden.
I have a flight 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm
Okay.
asking my friend to jump into the airport at 4:30 in the morning.
Okay. Before Shaharit.
Yeah, of course.
Before Zman Shaharit.
Okay, let's make
It's
make
before
it,
dawn.
No, make it dawn time.
It's after dawn.
Yeah.
Okay.
What should I do now? Asur. I cannot ask my friend to drive me.
It's after dawn.
It's time for Shacharit.
Technically shouldn't be driving it now. Sending you off might be considered a mitzvah, so it might be considered allowed. We'll see. I think we're going to get into that. There's a halacha I saw that something similar to that. He shouldn't be coming into your house, but he can pick you up and take you to the airport or something like that. It's not that simple. It's not that simple. Yes, Avram.
You said you cannot look at your stock market, this and that on the phone. Even if you will incur loss when you invest, still not allowed to look into it?
If you want to see if you've had a loss or not?
No, you have to maintain, trade, buy, sell, maintain, whatever. Even if you will incur loss, you're still not allowed to look into it?
I don't understand the last part. If you would incur loss, I don't.
Well, you
Explain
said
that.
you're not allowed to in the morning. You cannot go on your phone, check on the stock market before you pray Shaharit, correct?
Right.
Right. So let's say you check for the matter of income, your money, your trade account, this and that. And it's a matter of seconds you buy or sell. It's for Panasa reasons. Can you do that before Shaharit?
So you're talking about, you're looking like there's another stock market in another country, foreign country that's running on a different time. And if you don't get into it early in the morning, then you're going to lose out.
That or crypto or other states, different time zones.
Okay, so these type of questions, if it's really a hefsed meruba, it's a big loss and stuff like that, this will have to be asked to a Rav to figure out what could be done. that's his parnasa and stuff like that. We're talking in general. A person, it's not something that's a big,
General.
we're not talking about if it's $1 million at stake. There's definitely room for leniencies. But
I'm
stop
not
a
in
couple
that.
of dollars here and there, it's not going to make a big difference in a person's life. I mean, for me, I'm not in the stock market. So, for example, if I look at my bank account before Shaharit and after Shaharit, it's not going to change. It's going to be the same small number.
Yeah, I just want to know.
Right. So then definitely that would be forbidden to look at in advance before Shaharit.
Good to know. Thank you.
Right. So let's take a look at the Rambam in source 15. The Rambam says as follows: the mutter histaper, you're allowed to take a haircut, and you're allowed to go take a shower. Samuch l'shachrit, close to Shaharit. Usually means a half hour before Shaharit, so a half hour before dawn. Okay? Because they said the only time you're not allowed to take a haircut or take a shower before davening was only before mincha, if it's a half hour to mincha. Because that's something most people do during the day. But in the morning, people are not going to take haircuts in the morning. Most people don't go to take haircuts in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning. People don't do that. So therefore, if you're going to take it a half hour before the Zman Shacharit, it would be permissible. Says the Shulchan Aruch, so exactly like the Rambam said. Now, what does the Mishnah Berurah add on from here? This is specifically before Shacharit. That means before dawn. But once the dawn came, which is technically permissible to daven Shacharit at that time, Gam ze asur. Then it also would be asur because now you're taking care of your own needs. You're taking care of your own haircut. Someone asked the Truma Sedeshin as follows. This is the question and answer here in Truma Sedeshin. Someone said, I went and I said the Birkot HaShachar. Shulchan Aruch already said, if you said Birkot HaShachar, it's less problematic. Then I got up to Baruch Shamar. Then I went home and I took care of some of my needs. Is that okay or not? So the Truma Sedeshin gives a very simple answer. He says, no, it's not okay. Because when the Gemara says tefillah, when it says prayer, the Gemara is talking about Shmona Esrei. And you didn't do Shmona Esrei. So until you don't do Shmona Esrei, you shouldn't be doing your own things. So the parameter is Shmona Esrei. That's what it is. It has to be Shmona Esrei. You pray Shmona Esrei, then you're permissible to do things. You didn't pray, you're not. The Ramah, though, wants to say V'yesh Mekalin, that those who are Mekel, Lach Shamar Miktsas Bracha, it's Kadim Shamar Baruch Shamar, as long as you said some brachot, but he says V'toiv Lahachmir Bazeh. But it's good to be strict in this. Now we're going to come to some Yalkut Yosef. So let's take a look over here. Yalkut Yosef says as follows. I see in here he brings in the middle from Yalkut Yosef 89:30. So I have it over here. I'm going to read you the whole thing from beginning to end over here as he brings down this halakha. You're allowed to take a shower before it comes to dawn. Definitely allowed. You're not allowed to do it before mincha, half hour before mincha, because that's something that most people do at that time. It's only if it's shachar. But once comes dawn, you're not allowed to take a shower. Since tefillah time came, and taking a shower is for your own need. But then,
It's 30 or whatever. Yes, my Shacharit. But my Shacharit is 8 o'clock.
let's see. But if showering will help him to have kavanah, if showering having a good body will make him pray better, he sweated a lot overnight, or he's just dirty. It's as if he's preparing for prayer. So now your shower is a preparation for prayer, and it's permissible. So according to Yalkut Yosef, you're allowed to take a shower before Shacharit because it's preparing for tefillah. However, he says, person shouldn't use too much soap. Rashi, you should watch his body a little bit. He should get rid of the dirt and that's it. Meaning, it shouldn't be a luxury shower. You know, we all know a luxury shower from a quick shower.
No jacuzzi.
All right, no jacuzzi, no fancy waters, no. You're going in, you're coming out just to get clean. Not going in and bozy, you know what I'm saying? You're in and out, washing yourself and coming out. Now, Rishon Zalman and Auerbach is of the opinion that showers is considered preparation, but you're not to use soap. It's just to wash yourself and come out. Right. So this is what the Shevet HaLevi, Rav Wozner, says. He says to remove dirt, you can remove dirt, just don't sit in the shower, he writes. I guess people have the shower chairs, right? You don't want to sit in there and take a long time. He actually writes, people take long showers getting ready to daven, and they take an hour shower. This is a big problem. It is not considered getting ready. The Penine Halacha, Melamed, he wants to say, first of all, he says, taking a shower is like going to the mikvah, right? We say there's the 9 kavim of water, 12.5 liters of water on you. It's like you're doing tefillat Ezra. So that's definitely a preparation for prayer. So that would be permissible. And then he says that today's soap is considered, if you're not using soap in a shower, like you said, you're not doing anything. So soap would be permissible, but don't pamper yourself. And do not come late to tefillah because you decided to take a shower beforehand. So mutar to take a shower, but not a luxurious shower. You can use soap and kedarma, but don't use too much soap. I mean, don't start using all the different soaps you have on the shelf. This is for my foot, this is for my hand, this is for my eye, this is for my this. Quick, regular showers. Yalkut Joseph says, what about shaving in the morning? Okay, he says, shouldn't use an electric shaver in the morning. Because you're preparing yourself, you're grooming yourself. But if a person is used to taking a shave every morning when he gets up, they have what to rely on. So if you're a daily shaver, then you're allowed to be shaving in the morning. You don't protest them. Could be considered preparation for tefillah. And it's because you're preparing to meet Hashem. You want to come clean shaven to Hashem. I don't know if Hashem really wants you to be clean shaven, but it's if you think it coming clean shaven is a good thing, it would be considered like that. But it's better but it's better not. But it's better not to shave in the morning. But if you needed to, it would be okay.
To exercise a little bit, to run around before Shacharit. I don't know.
To do exercise.
A little bit, yeah, just.
You get sweat.
Yeah, well, let's finish up this part and then I'll look that up for you. Okay. So we're on page 34. What about going to the mikvah? Okay. What did I say? Look in. Let me see over here. 31. Maybe he didn't bring the whole thing over here. He didn't bring the ending. Okay. Mutter l'tivol b'mikvah or benar koydem atfilah. Person is allowed to go to mikvah or the river before prayer. Kivan shutzarich tahara l'tfilah. He needs to be tahar when he goes to daven. V'hu b'chal chetzi shemayim. This is considered heavenly stuff. So doing this before tefillah would be permissible. But a person shouldn't come to not daven because he had to go to mikvah. Oh, I got to go to mikvah, and then he doesn't end up davening. Because going to the mikvah is not a chiyuv. Yesterday we had the whole shir about knowing what is obligated versus you weren't here. We missed you over the Chag. Yosef, both the first Chag and the end Chag. You weren't here. Main Street for both.
Bahamas.
Guy, oh, Bahamas. He was in the Bahamas. Montenegro. Main Street. Even better. Okay. So so we talked about how a person has to know halakha to know what's an obligation versus what's optional. So example here, going to the mikvah, it's a good thing, but it's no obligation to go to mikvah. So if you have to pray or go to mikvah, you're going to pray without the mikvah. So that's what he says here. But rather, it's a very good thing that Hasidim and Anshe Ma'aseh people do. Then he doesn't bring this in over here because it's in the parentheses over here. He writes further in the Yilachot Yosef. But if you have to go and take a shower before you go into the mikvah, for example, you're not supposed to go into the mikvah dirty. It's not good. People are going to the same thing. Considered part of the tefillah, you're allowed to take a shower beforehand. A person knows he's going to be a shliach tzibur, he should go to the mikvah. But there's no hiyuv on this. Therefore, you don't go to shliach tzibur. You go to the mikvah today. Oh no, sit down. We don't do that because there is no chiyuv to go to the mikvah to pray. So therefore, we don't make a big deal about this. In fact, I saw from Rav Belsky, he wrote that Leibowitz wrote down that if a person went to the mikvah, he's allowed to take a shower before the mikvah, right? So he goes clean into the mikvah. Now, some people, when they come out, I'll tell myself too, when I come out of the mikvah, I really don't like the way the mikvah water feels on me.
Go shower again.
I go showering again. Were you allowed to do that again in the morning, shaharit, before shaharit? He says, yeah. Showering for his recording. Person also permitted a shower after going to the mikvah as well, because can't down. Some people can't do it. Although it's brought down that you want to keep the mikvah waters on you, right? But people are people and not comfortable with the water that was usually other people to stay on them, so they take another shower again afterwards would also be fine. Now you asked about exercising.
Yeah.
Exercising. So here he brings down, in the halachically speaking, or really what brings down, one who needs to exercise and cannot do it after davening is permitted to do it beforehand. This is only permitted if it helps him in his avodat Hashem, meaning it's going to get him. You know, you wake up, you're very lazy, you're very groggy, and you're going to do some exercise. It's going to get you into the
body will a little bit
awake and up and stuff like that, so you can pray better. This will be permitted, running and jogging also if it's according with this purpose. If you're doing it to help you better daven, then it's something like showering. It's the same thing like all these things that you're doing it to help you daven better. But you gotta be very careful. You know, don't get into a big workout that you're gonna be more tired afterwards and you're not gonna be able to daven, or you're gonna go into this huge workout and you're gonna forget to daven about it. All these things have to take into account as well. Okay. Here I'll just bring it down from what he brings over here. You talked about learning before as well. Mm-hmm. Rashi in Masechet Berachot is of the opinion that one is not allowed to learn before davening. According to Rashi, you're not allowed to learn before davening. However, the poskim say the one who davens with the minyan is permitted to learn because he will not forget to daven. What's Rashi's fear? Time came to daven, you're going to start to learn. You're going to be learning so much that you're going to forget to daven. Not good. So if you're praying in a minyan, I'm sure if here in the morning you're praying, if you learn before shaharit, if you're going to go 2 minutes extra in learning, people are going to stop you already. Alo, time to start. Kaddish, you're ready, right? So they have no problem, no worry, because they're going to make sure that you're going to daven. Some allow you to learn in any case. It's best that if someone gets a shomer or someone to remind him, he should go daven if he's not learning in the shul or someone who's going to be a minyan right away. Svarim speak about at length about the importance of learning before davening. The Kaf HaChaim states the learning 1 hour before daybreak, before Alot HaShachar, 1 hour of learning before Alot HaShachar is like learning 2 hours after Alot HaShachar. So if you want to cash in and get double the points, double the schar, you learn early morning before Al Shachar. If one wants to prepare for Shaharit, the best way is to learn beforehand, brought down. The Bnei Yisachar says, learning before davening makes your tefillah go up to Shemayim. Rav Pam held, Rav Pam held, and this will end with this mamar, that if all possible, one should learn a daf Gemara before Shaharit, and you should learn a daf Gemara after Shaharit. This is what Rav Pam held as being the best way to learn and daven. Is one daf beforehand and one daf after. Okay, Rabotai, so this is where we're going to end for this week. It's already of time. Next, so thank you. Next week, B'ezrat Hashem, we'll try to finish up this part of the shir. This one, up to page 50, 52. Okay, any questions from the people? All right then. Say again. All right, everybody. Shavua Tov. Thank you.
Shavua Tov. Thank you.
Thank you, Malkia. Thank you.